Here they go into the back. The blue light on. We have a race, and Satnova's beaten Pure Steel out by a length and a half.
Welcome to Talking Trots, hosted by Morts and Michael Radley on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
The sensational Sydney sider, Seals to Sam, comes off the back straight. He's a bucket load of alliteration, this fellow.
Scott Bomber Hill will join the boys to look at the Friday night meeting at Gloucester Park.
Here comes Quinny. I'm the mighty Queen is four deep and letting go.
Sit back and enjoy Talking Trots with Morts and Michael Radley.
I'm the mighty Queen is just in front. Dasher VC can do no more. And the West Australian champion has done it again.
Yes, good evening and welcome to another big edition of Talking Trots, and it sure is great to be back after a short spell. No Michael Radley this week as he is currently interstate and can't join us, but he's done a stellar job flying solo most weeks whilst I was away. And it was a great interview last week with Mike Tenev, owner of last week's winner of the Group 3 Winter Cup Ardie by the Seaside. Shortly we will be joined by Gary Hall Jr. to discuss last Saturday night's run by Never Ending at Menangle as we head towards the Tab Eureka in 9 sleeps. Plus, we'll be joined by Scott Bomber Hill to preview the meeting at GP, and Ollie Cownie will join us to look at the country meetings this weekend. But tonight, I'm happy to be joined by one of WA's best form analysts in Glenn Moore, who joins me on the show to look at the big card ahead of Friday night. Good evening, Glenn.
Good evening, Morts. Yes, it's great to be back. Rads is away for the week, and what a week it is coming to with the lead-ups to the Westbred Classics. We had the heats on Monday and Tuesday, and some very nice horses got through to the final. The barrier draw will be at Pinjarra on the coming Monday at 5:15, I think it is. So the results of that barrier draw will be critical to the result of those races, and there'll be some nervous people waiting for those draws to come out. Ra will put those draws out on social media as soon as they come out, but they want people to turn up at the course if they can to witness the barrier draw. I think around 5:15, conducted by Cameron Brown and Nathan Scott, and our friend Goss will be there to compare the whole thing, so that'll be sensational for people that turn up to listen to Tim Gossage. And, of course, tomorrow night, the $50,000 Binshaw. It's a level 10-11 race, less than 70,000. It's brought about a really good field, Morts.
Yeah, it certainly has, and that barrier draw will certainly be something to look forward to. Tim Gossage will certainly add something to that, and of course he's got a interest in Better Get On Pip.
Absolutely.
So he will be looking forward to a good barrier draw. But we saw the heats over Monday and Tuesday, and we'll go through them a little bit later on.
Sure.
But there certainly was some very good winners, and like you said, that barrier draw is going to be absolutely critical for those. So looking forward to that, and hopefully we get a draw to make them very competitive racing. Now, for our man Bomber, he had a tough night last Friday night. He was down 5 units, and also a tough weekend for Ollie, just managing the one winner from 5 bets. But I'm hopeful tonight that we can get back on the horse and fill the pockets. But last Friday night at Gloucester Park, it was a great card as always. Chillin went wide early, then had to breeze before grinding a solid win. That was a terrific drive by Gary Hall Jr., really urging the horse along in the last couple of 100 metres.
As Dennis Cometti called it, centimetre perfect.
Oh, absolutely was. And you could see Junior, he didn't go from before the corner, just waited till they straightened, and really it was a grinding win. Rattling Lily settled last before circling the field, being posted for a while, and was then able to hold them out. That was a gutsy win.
And a well-deserved win. Look, how well's Rattling Lily going? Like, it's just gone to another level. Once it got the breeze, reasonably comfortable for it, the way it races.
Yeah.
It looked really hard to beat with the main danger, Montana Glory. That was the tactical part of this race, which we discussed in the Gloucester Park preview, that how would they drive Montana Glory and how would they drive Rattling Lily? We knew Rattling Lily would want to get forward, and there was a question mark whether Montana Glory would want to be used, and they elected just to hope that Rattling Lily would do too much work. But Denny had control pretty quickly when she got outside the leader and made it really hard for Montana Glory to beat it, but still a very meritorious run.
It was, but a gutsy win by Rattling Lily. Now, Paraquet sat 3 wide early, then in the breeze, and that fought on well to win for Michael Munro to score at $41. Might have upset a few people's exotic bets, but it was a strong win.
Certainly upset my exotic bets because they had Paraquet running second, third or fourth. But in running, I'm thinking this is great outside the leader and adds the value to the first 4. But it did a huge job getting over Ideal Tomato. A very, very good drive by Michael Munro to assess that position was available. And he got it comfortably enough. He didn't rush there. Then he gave Paraquet that much needed breather when you've done that bit of work early, and just was a bit too strong for Ideal Tomato late.
Yeah, I thought Michael Munro rated him absolutely perfect in the breeze there.
Absolutely.
It was a terrific drive. And in the next Who's the Dad, which Ryan Bell has given a pretty good push over its last couple of starts without getting the money, but eventually got the money at $51 when well placed in the field and well driven by Ryan Warwick.
And we should have listened at the 50 to 1. It's got the beautifully driven again by Ryan Warwick. He's assessed it. Again, these speed maps are so critical to harness racing. Look, he's worked out that if he pops early, Celestio Matuka's likely to come. And he got that box seat. And ultimately, that was the position that won the race.
He's pretty clever, Ryan Warwick. Been around long enough in this game. So an Artie by the seaside fended off Talks Up a Storm early, then settled well before scoring easily in 1:58 for the 25:36 metres.
Absolutely. And the key is what you just said, settled well. And after Talks Up a Storm had a real crack, you would think that Artie by the seaside might have fired up. Gratifying for Denny, particularly. We did speak about on the Gloucester Park preview about earplugs in and all that, trying to work out what the rationale for that was. The rationale's, they haven't had to pull them, we understand that, but the other rationale is trying to get this horse to settle and only running the 1:58, which is capable of running much faster, is the slower the time gross overall is the better result for the Bonds, because it proves that she can lead, be used up, and then come back to Denny, which was a significant thing for Artie by the Seaside into the future. Particularly, she obviously tackles these high-class horses long-term.
Yeah, the tactics were obviously to see if they could fire her up, but she came back nicely.
Certainly did.
And was a very good win. Wall Street Girl found a nice position early in running before being left in the breeze, but was just too good late.
Yeah, struck that purple patch of form, Wall Street Girl again. There's no surprise to her winning. It was a tricky sort of race because we didn't really know what to expect from Eugene, even though we expected to go well from the trials. But when that all changed, a great position for Wall Street Girl when Eugene sort of couldn't take part in the race and became erratic, let's say. And Wall Street Girl ended up outside the leader, and a very comfortable position for Wall Street Girl's racing style, and won pretty easily in the end.
Mandown was away okay from the stand, managed to find the front, and it was a pretty easy watch after that.
Certainly was, yeah. Look, probably people had the suspicion that Mandown might not beat out Serious Moonlight in terms of Serious Moonlight's had a fair bit of experience, and Mandown did fluff one trial and the other trial began safely, but it got away really nicely, and Duty Bound, which was the one that had jumped quickly in trials, was a good novelty bet, paid 4 or 5 the place, added some value to the novelties and took the camp on Mandown, and Junior never knocked Mandown around. It's hardly extended to win very easily.
Now, Bob Melsop has been in tremendous form, and he continued that last Friday night in the Trotters race. Hold That Girl was an easy winner.
Yeah, look, this horse is just going really well. The Pinjarra run, when it copped the pressure all the way, Morts really impressed me, because that's a track that if you cop mid-race pressure, you can be vulnerable in the last 200 metres up that straight, but did the meritorious job and again got the job done the other night. Its manners are really good. Said on Friday night the manners are going to be important again. It's a good beginner, but it's going terrifically well, and its main dangers aren't drawn that well on Friday either.
And in the last, Soho Vespa Lind managed a late split and sprinted very hard to score. In the end, there was a great win for owner Rob Watson, trained by Kim Prentice, and a very patient drive by Stuart McDonald. Very
much so. Lucy Kane was the obvious leader. It's a little bit vulnerable late, and the 1700 obviously suited it to maybe get away with it, but when that gap came, So Vespa Lynn, the least fancied of the Kim Prentice horses in terms of price and market, early markets particularly, got the job done and went to the line really strongly.
It was a great night of pacing, and Friday night at Gloucester Park, Team Bond got a double. Denny Roberts got a treble, which seems to be becoming the norm, and a double to Gary Hall Jr. At Wagen on Friday night, it was a treble to Peter Anderson and a double to Hayden Reeves, and also a driving treble to my man Trent Wheeler, a double to Donald Harper and a double there to Corey Peterson. Saturday at Northern was a great card. Double there for Matthew Scott and Gemma Heyman, and Chris Voke, who's been in outstanding form, brought up a treble. Monday at Pinjarra, Aidan DeCampo trained a double and drove 3. Christopher Voke drove another 2, and Denny Roberts also a double. Then Tuesday at Gloucester Park, Ryan Bell had a training double, Gary Hall Senior a training double, Aidan DeCampo a driving double, and Junior a driving double. So it was a very big week in harness racing. So, and a great card we got to look forward to this week. Okay, before we are joined by Gary Hall Jr., let's go back to last Saturday night as Never Ending had a tune-up at Menangle ahead of the Tab Eureka.
And is out of its gear, going to second. Bulletproof Boy, Never Ending is going to be the deepest. They straighten up. Major Moth in 26.8 tries to break their hearts. Down the outside, Curly James and Never Ending is starting to hit top gear. Spots Major Moth about 15 metres, but it's closing. It's Major Moth the leader. He's got to get to work on it. It's holding Never Ending for the time being, and it's going to be Major Moth. Have a look at Never Ending. There's a little statement for the Eureka in 2 weeks' time. It stormed home.
Certainly was a statement, and the person that was aboard last Saturday night was Gary Hall Jr. Welcome, Junior. Appreciate your time as always. Looked a great effort for his first time racing in race conditions at Menangle.
Yeah, hey Morts, hey Glenn, thanks for having me. It was everything we wanted really, I think, probably plus a little bit more. It's always a few nervous moments when you're over there and not exactly knowing what he's going to do first up over there, but as I said, he come through it really well, and I don't think there was anyone that was disappointed with the run in any way, that's for sure.
Junior, when you look at it, this horse is the penny's starting to drop because the checks he got in running, he got an earlier check and then he got one on the home corner. It's something that the adversity of that may not have been able to handle it in the past, but he seems to be mentally getting stronger and stronger. Yeah,
and it's something that, I mean, you don't go out there looking to strike trouble in races, but, more often than not, it can happen. That we saw in the Nullarbor here, he copped the check on the last bend and didn't really have time to recover at all after that, but it's all part and parcel of racing, and they got to get their head around it. And I've said it about him numerous times now, where he's, he went through his age racing being so dominant that when he hits this company, you got to learn to sort of get knocked down and get back up and keep running through the line. And I think, as you say, definitely Saturday night proved that he's definitely more switched on now, I think, or more of the complete package as far as the racehorse goes. The check at the bell was, I mean, we weren't going that fast, but he could have rolled out of his gear if he was slightly more immature, or back in the day he might have just bubbled a bit worse than what he did. He had every probably right to roll out of his gear, to be honest. And then the one on the last bend probably wasn't as noticeable from the vision, but it was quite bad. The horse on the leader's back or three back galloped and ran up the track, and a couple of horses locked wheels, and it looked like it was going to be a lot worse than what it was. And I just had to reef him wide on the track, and he went from about 2 wide to sort of 5 wide, and he has got that Murphy on and the pole. So he wouldn't have known what the hell was going on when I asked him to do that. And he just, running it, leaders were running a 26.8 quarter at that point. So, that really could have sort of brought him undone and given him the, he could have been excused for sort of putting the cue back in the rack a little bit, but yeah, as you say, he to see him let down after all that, the way he got down the straight was like he had a trouble-free run.
When you look at the sectionals, 30.6 there, that first quarter of the last mile, that's really slow by Menangle standards, isn't it? And you could see that the field was starting to bunch up at that point when Major Moth's trying to go as slow as he can to make it as hard as he could for you. 30.6 there is like running, say, at 32 at Gloucester Park in reality. After all that, given the fact he went around and went so well to the line up the straight, you referred to the Murphy and the pole near side. Is that it? No changes you don't think required in terms of gear for the big Eureka race coming up?
Yeah, I think he'll go around like that. I said to Justin, like, he's gone so good, I don't think we should sort of change anything. He was really good because I haven't driven him, obviously, this time back in, and last time I had sat behind him, he still had that tendency to want to get down on the bend. So the fact that he's not doing that is good, and I think at Menangle he's got into the straights, and you probably can tell on the replay he was actually getting up the track a bit. There was a couple of times when I actually have to get on the left rein and shift him back down, which I don't think we should change anything to fix that. It's not really an issue. I don't think it's that getting down the track's obviously always the bigger issue, because you got to sort of lose momentum when you're trying to fish them off horses on the inside, but getting up the track's something you can always deal with. But yeah, I just don't think he could have been much more impressive, really. I think his personal half was 27.2, 26.2. So, and I think the best part about it was the way he got through the line. It took me sort of a good 500 metres to pull him up afterwards. So, yeah, he definitely feels like a better horse back this time into me, and yeah, he seems to enjoy racing there.
And what was going through the mind as you did turn and copped a bit of a shove, and you obviously knew they were sprinting really hard. What were you thinking as you turned? How much ground did you think he was capable of taking off the eventual winner, and did you think he could finish up so close?
Yeah, there's a couple of points on the bend where I got blindsided from the leader a bit. I couldn't really tell how far in front it was, and also how many sort of runners were going well to my inside. Seems weird. You think for a track like that you'd have a better view, but for some reason I think because I was so wide, I just lost track of a few of them, and then realised when I straightened up I was close enough to sort of second and third, and didn't really get a good idea about how far the leader had got away from us until we'd really straightened for home, and I just I knew it was a bridge too far at that point, but I was just so wrapped that he got into second basically without me really even asking him to go, and then the ground he took off the winner late. Well, yeah, I know Jason Grimson's pretty keen. Tackle the Len Smith Mile with Major Moth, and thinks it'll be a really hard horse to beat in a race like that. So, yeah, drawing a line through a few of those things, and what the locals said about our horse's run and where he come from and things like that. It's having driven a few there myself, it was it was pretty exciting to see his sectionals as well, and his breakup of his times, his own individual times, and his last mile I think was like 1:52.4 or something, which is, I don't think they go much better than that from where he was.
And interesting, Jack Callaghan, look, he's obviously got the break on the corner and went for home, got the big break. Did he say anything after the race? Look, he said a double look at you halfway up the straight, I think, to see you coming so quickly. Did he make any comment after the line?
I think he might have said he went good, like, because I think he obviously realised how far he did get away from us, and Justin and Jack have been formed a bit of a relationship since Justin went over with Mighty Ronaldo as well. So, and he's been helping out Justin with his track work of never ending over there. Jack's been driving the galloping pacemaker and things like that. So, right. Yeah, he's obviously knows the horse and was probably interested in to see how he's going as well. But I think I was the first one to say something to him, because I think I said to him I nearly fell twice, and I still got that close. So
I would have said I'll get you next time.
Yeah, but no, I think as I said on course, there wasn't really anyone that didn't think he went well, put it that way.
For sure.
And when I got back into the stalls, like Justin, as you know, both of you know that he's pretty reserved at times, but I not only got a sense of relief from him, I also sensed a little bit of excitement in the way the way he was he looked when we come back in about how the horse had gone, so that's good. I think he was pretty happy with it.
Yeah, he doesn't give too much away, Justin, but obviously it would have been a fair bit of pressure. The horse didn't quite settle like he would have liked him to have when he first got there. So, I guess he didn't really know where he was going to finish up. So to finish off so well, I'm sure was very pleasing. How critical's the barrier draw, Junior?
Not as critical as it usually is for these sort of races, I think. Being that distance at Menangle, as it stands right now, I think the best he can draw is 5.
Yeah.
So, 5 through to 10. So he would, it doesn't really bother me a great deal. When we drew out there on Saturday night where we had to because of the rating system, everyone said, 10's sort of better than 5 when over this trip because they go single file, and if you're in sort of 5 and 6, you lob midfield off the gate, and when the one wide line comes, you either got to make a move first and lead them up, or stay in there and end up sort of buried on the rail on the last bend. So whether or not the Eureka gets run in the same fashion, probably not. Might be a bit different, but he settles pretty good out there in those barriers. So if he happened to come up with the outside gate, based on what we saw on Saturday, I wouldn't be too worried.
And how are the nerves going into the race on Saturday night?
The one just gone?
Yeah.
I was pretty nervous, just because you don't really know. I was sort of more nervous just for Justin and the horse to do well, because I know what it's like when you go over there and everyone, you always get that feeling like, people think you always overestimate your own horses and things like that. And I know Justin's never been one of those people, but you just want the horse to run well and to show what we've seen of him and what we know of him, just so that they I don't know. You just get that feeling like if something goes wrong or he doesn't quite go as good as what he can, then everyone will say, yeah, we didn't think he was much good and things like that. It's just the nature of our game, unfortunately. Yeah. But there's been plenty of times when I've travelled and, back in the Falcon Strike days and that, and he might put up a bad run over there, and it's it's hard to come back into the stalls with your head up, but it was pretty easy. We walked in pretty chuffed on Saturday night, that's for sure.
The key is too that it's his first trip away, so you've always got that nagging doubt how they're going to handle the trip and settling to new property, eat well, drink well, and then go out and perform like that against Major Moth. It's a classy horse, clearly. Obviously, it's expected to go well, but you don't really know until you get out there on the night, do you?
No, you don't, and that's the hardest thing. Like, Justin's obviously over there trying to sort of replicate as best he can what he does with him at home, and then get the feel off him. But he's been track working at Menangle as well for his good hit outs, and it's not only it's not like he can just work on a track the same size as what he works on at home and things like that. And I don't think a lot of time people understand how much that can affect your thought process and how much track times can vary. So, with his workouts, he's basically was in the dark a little bit as to, there's no book that says that Menangle's 4 seconds faster than Justin's track or things like that. So it's a bit of a guessing game. And, I think Justin was pretty happy. He travelled with Ronaldo those couple of years ago and got a bit of a feel for it. And this guy, no one knows this horse as good as Justin. So I just said to him, mate, the horse, let him tell you. Don't let any of the locals get in your head about what you're doing. Talk to them about your work and your times, and maybe bounce things off them, but don't sort of let them change your mind about what you're doing with your horse, because, I know Senior fell into that trap a little bit with Falcon the first few times he went away, and probably paved the way for a better preparation with Quinny when we did end up travelling with him later on down the track.
How did he pull up in terms of what Justin's told you since that run? in terms of how he ate up and drinking and all that type of thing?
Yeah, I think from all reports, pretty good. Yeah, I think it wasn't till the last couple of days before that run, and then certainly I think his eating's picked up after the run as well. So
That's good.
Yeah, he's really good. I said to Justin, like, hopefully he can turn out the same horse again in 2 weeks' time. But I think leading into the race, Justin sort of believed that he could probably have him a bit better for the final. And as we've seen of Justin in the past, that's generally the case of what he can do.
He certainly is a perfectionist, and you can be guaranteed that you'll be hopping onto a horse which has been, trained to the minute for that Saturday night race. Must give you a lot of comfort.
Yeah, it does. It's comfort and pressure in a way. I keep, I've done a few interviews about this horse now, and I say one of the nerve-wracking things with him, which is, when I travel with our horses and Quinny and all that, like, I obviously feel like I'm the best option to take him around, and I've got a good connection with those horses. But with Justin, I know that he's a great trainer, but he's a great driver as well, and he can easily do what I'm doing. So it puts a little bit added pressure on me, I think, to perform and to go out there and justify his training, I suppose.
Well, we'll certainly all be barracking for you next Saturday night in the Eureka. But before we get to next Saturday night, you've got a big book of drives tomorrow night at Gloucester Park, and importantly, we see the return of Mickey Jet in race 5, drawn the inside of the back. How's he coming along at this stage of his preparation, and primed to go well first up?
Yeah, he is. He's come back really good. I think he should be a better horse this time in. And when I say better, his record was good before he went out, but he looks like he's settled in a bit nicer this time, and he's accustomed to the work now. So yeah, he's quite a nice horse actually. I would have liked to had maybe one more week before this race, and probably the only reason is because the last couple of weeks leading up to it, the weather's been quite awful on track work days and things like that. And I had to hobble him on Friday last week before I went away because I was leaving early on a Saturday morning. So we got the worst of that weather on the Friday, and the track was, not really nice enough to probably go as hard as I'd like. But he's still had a lot of work. He's been in work for a fair while, but he just hasn't had those really good, solid hit-outs at home like he might have done if he had one more week with him. But in saying that, we've got a nice draw to follow through, and yeah, I think he obviously needs luck from that draw to get out at some stage. But if he does, he's definitely going good enough to win it.
Yeah, drawn very well there behind All Is Well, which is the $1.75 favourite for Cat Warwick and Chris Lewis. So just look to get a nice run, and then, as you said, hopefully get a split somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming the one will lead, I think, Glenn. But there is a couple of fast ones there that might have a little crack.
Yeah, Rockmeister's one, so Dow Jones maybe. There's a couple there, but I don't know whether they're blistering beginners in terms of Chris Lewis, barrier 1. He's a hard man to get around. And to time the gate there, he's probably going to do enough. Infinite Sign was the one that maybe whether they chance their arm, I'm not sure, from 6. That'll depend on... Aiden's always got a mindset to have a look and might think there's no hope if they go back, so you never know about what... Yeah. There could be a little bit of pressure on there which could help you late.
Yeah, I just thought any sort of, early burn. I think the problem is if All Is Well gets out, as good as it can, it's probably... They probably can't cross it, and the horses we speak of there with the gate speed, especially sort of, I think they just concede pretty early if they didn't like getting there as well. So whilst the first 200 metres might be quick, the rest of the lead time should be pretty dawdling if All Is Well is able to hold up, which, makes him pretty tough to beat around Gloucester Park from that draw. But, if we get a crack at him inside the last sort of 300, I'd be surprised if we didn't go very close.
LeVar boys be down?
Yeah, it's Steve Senior and Junior. Junior's down from Singapore. He come down for last week to watch Mandown race, and when he knew Mickey Jet was in for this Friday, he flies out Friday night actually back to Singapore. So hopefully he can see both of his horses win on a Friday while he's here.
Be nice. Going back to race 2, Le Mans d'Hier, a horse that's going really well. Last start was very good, even though the numerics don't necessarily show that, charge to the line late. Having said that, you've got Flying Rumour drawn 3, but there's a little bit of pace underneath Flying Rumour as well. And the first up, Star Casino, the query horse in terms of potentially the best horse in the race. We don't know where he's at, no trial. But Le Mans d'Hier, back to that specifically, you'd be pretty happy enough with that draw?
Yeah, I was happy enough with the draw. Obviously, if he can't draw the lead, he's better off with a soft trailing draw. So, yeah, I'm happy enough to be there. I guess the one's got the speed to hold up, but whether or not Flying Rumour goes forward and gets the front off it remains to be seen. Star Casino, I think he is the best horse in the race, but I guess being first up and the fact that we're race hardened gives us, probably sort of counteracts things a little bit. And
Chillin, race 3, again drawing the 11. You've got to be happy with its form, Face the Breeze, and got the money last start over Chris Lewis Major Overs. Good solid run, going to get the right draw. Serious Moonlight, did you have the choice there as to which one you picked, Serious Moonlight or Chillin?
No, I didn't have the choice.
Just put you on,
Yeah, Youngie just put me on. So, I didn't necessarily like Chillin all that much. A few runs I drove him a while back, but he seems to have turned the corner a little bit lately, and his form now is a lot better. And I wouldn't have even considered him a place chance in a race like this. The first couple of times I drove him, but in his current form, he probably is an each way chance. It's a really good field though.
Very good. Louis Dior and Skylord.
Louis Dior and Skylord and horses like that. Chillin would need all the favours to trouble them, I would think. But from that draw, he could probably fill a place.
Yeah, very tough field for him. Of those two horses that you mentioned, Louis Dior, Skylord, really classy conveyances. Regal Chevelle first up. Got gate speed. There's a bit of speed inside you. I mean, depends whether Lucid Dream gets involved. They've been driving it a little bit more conservatively lately. And obviously Al Daytona first up will be attempting to hold up.
Yeah, I haven't worked out what to do yet with this guy. As we know, he's really good off the gate, and I assume being first up he'd be even quicker, being a little bit fresh. But there is speed to his inside, so I'm not sure. The last thing I'd want to happen is to launch him and not get there first up. It's probably not ideal. So he is working pretty good from a sit at home too. And last time in, he did start to develop some form from trailing positions. So I'm leaning towards dropping him back off the gate, especially with the no back line, probably aids to that way of thinking as well. But he's working really good too. He's worked up the whole way through with Mickey Jet, and there's not a lot between them when they go the line together every week. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's early pace on if he was able to get over the top of him.
You're happy that he's forward given those weather conditions that you pointed out at the track with Mickey Jet? Has he done as much work as Mickey Jet or similar all the way through?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same, apart from the fact that Mickey Jet usually leads, so he's the one carving out the times. So he might be a little bit behind, but I think he's, as far as the two horses go, Regal Chevelle's probably more of a naturally athletic sort of a horse by comparison to Mickey. So, I think he'll be forward enough. He is working pretty good. So, I thought it's a winnable race for him, put it that way.
And in the next race, the Lady Camel Free for All, a fairly even sort of field. You've got the good draw there, Barrier 1 with Code Breaker for Ryan Bell, whose stable is going very nicely. How do you see that race unfolding?
I guess Belly would be keen to lead. He wasn't happy with my last drive on it. I
weren't going that hard
just
when you
drove
went,
the race. I drove the race how I saw it, and probably didn't take into too much consideration the horse I was on, which can often be a trap drivers fall into. But the way the race had been run upside down, I just thought if I try and follow someone into it, I was going to get pushed 3 and 4 wide by the Mickey taker, and if I went myself, that way they if he comes out in front of me, so be it. If he doesn't, I'm first one 3 wide. But they didn't run any blistering sectionals home the last half, but Belly just said the horse, he's not capable of doing that. So gets a better draw here, and I think he went good enough last start to suggest that if he did if he is able to hold a easy lead, he'd give him a bit of cheat.
I guess the hood on is an indicator that Ryan Bell maybe want to lead, revved him up to maybe hold that position, talks up a storm, clearly could be the issue there. It just looks as if it's Kyle will have a crack here, doesn't it, on paper?
Yeah, I guess so. There's probably not a lot inside him to deter him. Maybe Hampton Banner, though.
Maybe, yep.
But you'd think he probably would. But I think Belly suggested he was keen to probably hold up. He came out with no driver on when the fields come out, and I jokingly sent him a message about if he needed a driver for race 6, and he said something. I can't remember what he said, but all I said was I shouldn't end up 3 wide at the bell from 1 anyway.
Yeah, very good point. And in race 7, La Vista, drawn out there in barrier 6, Montana Glory, good last start, ran 4th, but won its couple of starts before that. Fairly outside of Montana Glory, fairly even sort of field. Each way chance in that?
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I drove her, but I think she looks a little bit tested from the draw mainly. She probably needed a better draw to figure in this sort of lineup. She's got a couple underneath her, obviously Montana Glory, and I think Castella de Lacca would probably press forward there too, and might not be too keen to give up a 4 position. So, she looks probably tested in that, I would say.
Fair enough. And then stay focused in the trot. Looks a tricky one. It's probably not in the form that was in a few weeks ago. A little tricky race, particularly with Hold That Gold drawn 4.
Yeah, it does look hard. He gets out the gate okay, but I think Hold That Gold would have their measure in that, and a couple of other ones out wider too, in really good form too, Patched and Uptown Ladder, and also Love of Flair. So, I think if he could finish in the salute the judge, he's done a good job in that.
And then in race 9, you've once again got the good draw with Let It Linger. Once again for Michael Young. Small field over the 21.30. Outside of one horse, it looks reasonably even.
Yeah, it does. I think she can hold up based on a couple of starts ago when she drew 1 and Blaze Coops was only just able to get round her. So I think she can definitely hold up, and she probably does her best racing in front. So yeah, it's a good even field. Lombo Mitchelton's racing super well, but it's sort of got a similar racing pattern to her where it likes to get up and rolling a bit. So hopefully that plays in her favour a little bit as well. But she can definitely figure from with the advantage of that draw.
In the last race, you got Classic Choice, Drawn the River, unfortunately. It's bitted in out of form, but of course it's capable. Good Fellas is obviously the testing material, drawn 5.
$12.
$12.
Good Fellas, according to
I love a bit of that.
Yeah, I don't think you'll get that, Junior.
Yeah, be odds on.
The point might be in the wrong spot.
Any black would do.
Yeah.
Look, Goodfellas the one to beat, clearly. You're drawn wide, so I guess it's a bit hard to assess where you're going to be in running there. Sugar Apple might try and lead, perhaps, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah, looks. I mean, he's not in very good form either. Classic Choice. Speaking to Debbie the other day, she said he's sort of lost his way a bit, but she's hoping this small field he can sort of turn things around a little bit, because we do know he has got good ability, but can't suggest to be diving in this week drawn there.
No, stable's going very well, but does look a task. So, looking at Gloucester Park on Friday night, what's the best, Junior?
I'd have to say Mickey Jet, really. I think, yeah, he's, I know he's a nice horse, and he's going to need a little bit of luck from there. That's all. But he got an odds-on favourite in the race, drawn 1. But I still think he's probably all in all my best drive.
And Junior Bunbury on the Saturday night, you've got I think it's a 6-event card, but you've got a couple of drives there. Clearly, Fat Louis will be short, but looks very hard to beat. Clearly,
nice horse, Fat Louis.
Definitely.
He's done that last run there was, yeah, he hasn't been nasty out the gate like that in his life, even in trials. So to see him, get driven out under the stick like that and do all that work early and then still be able to hit the line like he did, I think he's got a pretty bright future. So looking forward to buying him again. But yeah, he's obviously going to be very short. Sweet Ivy, she gets another chance in what looks a pretty even sort of a field from a good draw. So she should go pretty close, I would think. And
Flying Disco is another one with a chance.
Which one, sorry?
Flying Disco, another one with some chance.
Oh yeah, he has. He's a funny sort of horse, but he can sort of bob up from time to time, and I think he's actually going all right at the moment. So yeah, he needs a little bit of luck in his races, and drawing that gate over the mile, he's probably got to be, try and make his own luck a little bit. But yeah, he can definitely figure.
The race I'm looking forward to there is My Ultimate Chevron. It's drawn the 1. You've got Longreach Bay outside you. There is a sprint lane there as well, plus the quality out wide. High Sugar Rush, obviously classy, and the query horse Waratah Lou, definitely a query. That's not a bad race, actually. What's your sort of early look at that? Like to hold Longreach, or sort of if it attacks too hard, you've got the option?
I think you'd like to hold, but he doesn't have a great deal of gate speed, Ultimate Chevron. I think he'll get out a little bit better down there, bigger track, and get a straighter, longer run into release point. But I haven't spoken to Michael obviously about it, but I would think he'd want to hold up from that draw. I think he's of the opinion that the horse is slowly starting to turn his form around. So yeah, but High Sugar Rush, obviously he's racing super. The other horse you mentioned too, Jocelyn, is it trialled, that horse?
No, it hasn't, but it's Steno's brother, full brother to Steno.
Yeah, right.
With pretty good form over there, so,
might fly the gate.
Well, I haven't had a good look at its gate speed yet, but certainly one to be watching, I'd say, on Saturday night.
Yeah, no, it's a good little, it's not a bad card for, even though a lot of the fields are quite small, but it's still pretty good, pretty competitive card, I thought.
Definitely.
Well, Junior, we appreciate your time as always. You've got a good book of drives across the whole weekend, so we wish you all the very best there. And, of course, everybody in WA will be wishing you all the very best the following Saturday night in the Eureka. So thanks for your time as always, Junior. You're very, very kind with it, and we appreciate it. And we'll talk to you soon.
No worries. Appreciate that. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, Junior.
See you in Sydney.
See you, mate.
There we go. Gary Hall Jr., as we said, he's always very, very generous with his time, that's for sure. Now, this segment is brought to you by Steel Blue Boots, made for comfort. They are a mark of true skill. Built for comfort, made for work, more to the point, designed for comfort, durability and choice, backed by a 30-day, 100% comfort guarantee. And, of course, Ross Fitzgerald there from Steel Blue Boots is a very good supporter of harness racing here in WA. All right, well, I think we're going to go and have a break. So as we go to the break, let's go back to last Friday night. Man Down was away well from the stand and was an easy watch from there at Gloucester Park last Friday night.
get out. Next of all is Serious Moonlight as they come around the turn. Man Down, he's about to go for home now. It's Man Down from 2 Bob Cracker, Duty Bound the inside, and then Serious Moonlight. Man Down clear, Duty Bound sneaks into second the inside, and then 2 Bob Cracker. Further back is Serious Moonlight, Franco Mecca the inside, and then Feeling Aces, but it's Man Down doing it well over the final stages, and Man Down races home to win well from Duty Bound, third, Franco Mecca, and fourth.
Hi, I'm Steve Sell from Loans 123. We are car finance specialists. We can help you find the loan you're looking for, your new car, and help find a home for your old one. If you want a new or used car but feel uncomfortable visiting car yards on your own, we can help and often save you money. For a stress-free way of buying and financing your next car, who do you see? Steve Sell at loans123.com.au or call 1800 100 100.
Talking Trots with Morts and Michael Radley on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
Still hasn't come out, and then Sovrana, and further back is State of Heaven. Around the turn they run. Coney Island lose in front. On the outside, Celestio Matuka. Then Who's the Dad? And El Waddell back on the inside in the straight. Going to the front, Celestio Matuka. On the outside, Who's the Dad is coming at it hard though. It's Celestio Matuka and Who's the Dad? Who's the Dad takes the lead. Another boil over. Who's the Dad goes home to win from Celestio Matuka.
There we go.
And third is Sovrana.
Who's the Dad scored at $51 for Ryan Bell, who had given it a pretty decent push over previous weeks. Okay, we're about to take a deep dive into 4 races at Gloucester Park this coming Friday night, and we are joined by Scott Bomber Hill. Good evening, Bomber.
G'day, Morts. How are you going?
Good evening, Bomber, to you. I'm back again. Rads is away this week, so feeling it again. It's good to talk to you again.
Yeah, and you too, Glenn. Hopefully a bit more success this week than I did last week, but another cracking night's racing. The depth at the moment is pretty strong.
A lot of upsets lately, Bomber, so probably no orphan.
Yeah, well, I went a little bit wide last week and still didn't have any luck. Couldn't find a winner, but hopefully tomorrow night.
Yeah, certainly some value tomorrow night, that's for sure. So it's a nice card, and where do we head? We head to race 3 as the first race we're going to have a look at. That comes up at 5:55 p.m. and it's Happy 90th Birthday, Des Parr. Good old Des Parr. He was, I think he was a committeeman here for quite some time.
He certainly was,
Des Parr,
and he had a great horse, Valley Champ.
That's correct, yeah. So happy 90th birthday to Des Parr, coming up at 5:55 p.m. over the 2130 metres. There are no markets up at this stage, Bomber. We're relying on the HRA website, which I don't really think we're probably should be. But what are the thoughts here for race 3 at Gloucester Park, Bomber?
Yeah, I thought Louis Dior had been really impressive in his short career, and I think he can take yet another step. He comes up with a pretty awkward barrier draw, but he's shown his versatility in his 7 wins to date. Looks to be a bit of pressure up front. I think Serious Moonlight and Rock Artist will go at it early at least, and should see the race evenly run, if not even quicker. And Louis Dior can get a nice card into the race. He's going to be very dangerous late. 3 runs back. He was super impressive when he came from last and looped a much easier field, it must be said. But he ran a sub-28 third quarter there to round them up, and then still managed a 28.3 on the way home, albeit getting a little bit tired. But he was first up on that occasion, and I just think he's got a bit of X factor about him, this bloke. And, I think he could be really dangerous late.
I agree, Bomber. I think he's got a lot of X factor, and I think there's a huge upside here. Annie Belton's had to work really, really hard to get him back to the track. They had a few problems along the way, but boy, his first 3 runs have been exceptional. And Ryan Bell aboard there. Should be very hard to beat. Skylord first up. Gully Gum's been in very good form. Serious Moonlight, so it's a good field.
It is a good field, and from the draw, I think that just enables us to get a nice enough price to get on.
Yeah, heading towards the Nugget too, no doubt. Along with a lot of other top 4-year-olds, it's going to be hard to fit all these horses in the Golden Nugget because we've got some very good 4-year-olds around, but he's certainly one, and if he can win a couple of Metropolitan races on the way through, that should cement his position.
So, Bomber, race number 3, horse number 12, Louis Dior for Annie Belton and Ryan Bell. What's our staking plan here?
just the 1 unit, he has drawn pretty ordinarily in a nice enough field, but, as we touched on, he's definitely got a touch of class about him. So, 1 unit, Morts.
1 unit, and then the next race we have a look at is the main event on Friday night. It's the Running Camel the Binshaw over 2,130 metres, which would be a Group 3 due to go at 6:55 p.m. Now, we do have a market up for this race, Bomber, so we'll go through the market. Number 1, All Is Well for Cat Warwick and Chris Lewis at $1.75. Paul Edward with my man Trent Wheeler at $26. Number 3, Chivalry for Lindsay Harper at $8. Number 4, Soho Dow Jones, Mitchell Miller and Kim Prentice at $9.50. 5, Rockmeister, $11. Number 6, Infinite Sign, David Young, Aidan DeCampo at $61. 7, My Ultimate Baxter at $101. 8, Who's the Dad, $51 again this week. 9, Tiger Royale at $34. Mickey Jet drawn the inside of the back line behind the favourite at $3.40. Blaze Coops $101, and number 12 Rock and Roll Elliot at $61. What are your thoughts here, Bomber?
Yeah, I'm a lot keener this one. I think this race could be just about one to the first corner, and as a result, pretty happy to have a crack on All Is Well. I'm not sure if it's an illusion or not, but the mobile seems to go quicker in these bigger races, and it allows the inside horses to kick through it a little bit easier, and I think that can aid All Is Well here. He's come back in exceptional form this prep. His 2 runs have been very good from back in the field, and his front-running record suggests he's going to be pretty hard to roll here. I think he's going to get it reasonably easy in front so long as he does hold into that first corner.
Anything left field there? There's obviously a $50,000 race. There might be something that wants to have a crack, like Infinite Sign's got gate speed clearly, whether they get involved. They've got Chivalry, so Dow Jones, even Rockmeister. There's a fair bit of gate speed there. The 2 wouldn't get used, but you would think if Chris gets the gate right, he should be able to hold up.
I think so, and I think probably the one that worries me the most is Infinite Sign.
Yep.
But I'm just not sure. Yeah, like you say, the old master, he'll know that he has to time that gate perfectly, and I think he can do enough he just musters. He's not brilliant off the arm, but he will continue to muster through, and I think that'll be enough. And there could be a bit of a staggered start, which yes, might not allow Infinite Sign across as well.
Confidence level?
Yeah, really confident, actually. I think it's a simple case of him leading and winning. I'm confident he does lead, so it's a 5 bet.
I was going to say, Bomber, that sounds like it's going to be a 5-unit bet, so race number 5, horse number 1, All Is Well for Cat Warwick and Chris Lewis. We have a 5-unit bet, so we'll take a short break and we'll come back and we'll have a look at the next 2 races. But before we go to a break, this segment is sponsored by Loans 123, car loans, personal loans, travel, commercial loans. Who do you see? The nude nut, Steve Sell. You can contact him on 1-800-100-100, and he is still doing things the banks can't. And as we go to a break, we go back to last Friday night, and Artie by the Seaside, tackled early by Talks Up a Storm, but was just too good. Outstanding mare.
Get a run to the outsiders. Hampton Banner around the turn, still Artie by the Seaside, Talks Up a Storm trying to work clear from the Code Breaker, getting up on the inside Sangre Real, but Artie by the Seaside bounded away. It's all over. 28.9 at raced 8 metres in front of Talks Up a Storm, Sangre Real the inside, and then Steal the Show and Jetstar, but Artie by the Seaside wins it well from Talks Up a Storm, Sangre Real, Steal the Show.
There's always a lot more in store for you at Retrovision. Like Retrovision's lowest price guarantee. If you find a lower price on a same-stocked item, we'll beat it. There's our 60-day price promise, where we'll refund you 120% of the difference if you find a lower advertised price on any purchase. Plus, RAC members save an extra 5% every day of the year. After 60 years, a lot has changed, but there's still a lot more in store at Retrovision.
You are listening to Talking Trots with Morts and Michael Radley.
20 28.8 the next quarter. Around the bend they come. Into the straight. Rattling Lily in front of Lombo Mitchison. Soho Firestone. Montana Glory is still surging down the centre of the track and coming with a brilliant run. It's Soho Firestone with Montana Glory down the outside. Lombo Mitchison. Rattling Lily fights back brilliantly on the inside. Rattling Lily comes back and wins from Soho Firestone in a great race.
Yes, a real gutsy win there for Rattling Lily. It was a great finish, but had to circle the field early, but managed to hold them out, which was a very, very good win for Team Bond last week. Bomber, we move on now to race number 9. Race number 9, which is due to go at 8:49, the We Love Our Members Pace. Over 2,130 metres. There are no markets up, and once again, I really don't feel confident enough to go with the harness racing site. So what are your thoughts on this one, Bomber, and what price will we need to get?
Yeah, I think Let It Linger gets her opportunity here, Morts, to hold up. I think there's some speed to her outside, but with no second line here, I think that really helps Junior to time it perfectly, and that should be enough to see her in front. It's pretty obvious from her record that she does the best racing in front, and despite not having that opportunity for a little while, she's been racing consistently enough, and I'd say in slightly harder races. So I think she'll get a chance to kick through and lead here, and if she does, she's going to take plenty of catching.
And Junior backed up your thoughts there too, Bomber. He's pretty confident he can hold up.
Excellent. That's probably all I need to hear, Clint. Yeah, in front, she's going to be very hard to beat.
Yeah, still a nice field, but race number 9, horse number 1, Let It Linger, for the very powerful Michael Young stable, driven by Gary Hall Jr. Over the 2,130 metres, Bomber. What's our staking plan here?
Yeah, 2-unit bet. I think she'll be sort of around that sort of $4 mark, $2.50 mark, I hope. And, she never gets it done by big margins. It's definitely her opportunity.
Okay, well, let's hope that we get something early so we're not having to hang around for the 8th to get ourselves out, Bomber. Hopefully we're a long way in front by then. Race 10, which is the Rattling Lily Pace over the 2,130 metres, comes up at 9:17 p.m. Once again, no markets up, Bomber. So what are your thoughts here in the last?
Yeah, I'm with the old evergreen here, G. Smith. He's been looking for this draw in a race like this, I think, and his last 2 efforts have been exceptionally good. I do think he can hold up and be rated to perfection by Shannon. We know how good he is in front, and 2 starts back, he was 3rd behind Montana Glory over the mile when he was eye-catching there, hitting the line late after being held up marginally, and then Tuesday night he only got beat a metre and, nearly 2 metres behind Goodfellas. Admittedly, Goodfellas there, but G. Smith sat 1 by 2 and, he made good ground on Goodfellas, and as the likely leader, he's going to make it pretty hard for that horse tomorrow night, I think.
You can save on Goodfellas at the $12 in the predicted prices.
If that's there, we'll certainly be saving.
Yeah, I think we might be missing a decimal point there somewhere.
Something's wrong there.
Yes,
so you've got G. Smith leading, Sugar Apple probably going to his back, and Goodfellas outside the leader.
That'd be my map. I don't think Sugar Apple could afford to get involved, and I don't think that unless Goodfellas applies an enormous amount of pressure, I think G. Smith would be trying to keep him sort of half a length away and trying to roll.
How many units?
2 units. I just like these last. Yep. I really like his last 2 starts, and I've been waiting for him to get a draw. And despite Goodfellas' presence, I think he can still win.
Very nice. Be a nice way to finish off the night and fight back after last week, Bomber, and I'm sure we will. And as always, we thank you very much for your time. Oh, the multi. What about a multi?
Yeah, I do have a 3-leg multi. Haven't had one for a few weeks, but I thought the old favourite, Crowd Control, he can definitely fill a place in race 4, number 8. I think he, class runner of the race, he will be taken back off the arm, and he'll be making his presence felt late. So place for him. Race 6, number 7, still the show again for the place. It's only a 2-dividend event, so I think that'll ensure a nice enough sort of place price about this bloke, and he'll be fighting out the finish for sure. And then race 7, number 2, Montana Glory, I think it'll just lead and win. So, yeah, we'll couple those 3 up and see how we go.
Very nice.
Brilliant, Bomber.
We don't have the prices to be able to look at what the anticipated dividend is going to be, but very good. Good luck and good punting over the weekend, Bomber. Don't have to worry about watching your beloved team coming up over the next few weeks, so you can just sit back and relax up there, mate, and take it easy. Thanks for your time as always.
Thanks. Pleasure. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Cheers, Bomber.
Okay, that multi was race 4, number 8 for the place, race 6, number 7 for the place, and race 7, number 2 for the win. Okay, before we go to the break, this segment was brought to you by Retrovision for all the electrical stuff you love. Lowest price guarantee. RAC members save an additional 5% every day at Retrovision. Support your local Retrovision store and just let them know that Morts sent you, and they'll make sure you get the best price you possibly can. So as we go off to the break here, go back to last Friday night and another well-priced winner for Michael Munro. Great drive, Parakeet at $41.
Then came awaiting instructions. They come around the home turn, around the bend. Ideal Tomato has got the lead by about 3 or 4 metres from Parakeet. Tiger Royal got off the inside and comes to the outside, and then came awaiting instructions. Ideal Tomato's in front of Parakeet. Tiger Royal. Parakeet goes up, takes the lead from Ideal Tomato. Parakeet in front, and a boil over. Parakeet has won from Ideal Tomato. Tiger Royal and
New Mazda.
Yep, I love it. We got it from Bayswater Mazda.
I keep hearing great things about them.
They're fantastic to deal with. Great people, great coffee too.
At Bayswater Mazda, you'll always be well looked after. Visit the team today and find the best drive-away deals on new Mazdas and pre-owned vehicles. Driving is better with Bayswater Mazda.
So's the coffee.
Go and see Bayswater Mazda at the corner of Guildford and Garrett Road, Bayswater. DL 25174.
You are listening to Talking Trots with Morts and Michael Radley.
50 to go. Spudmeister got away a length and a half. Kiang Jigsaw, 3/4 Mango Tango. On the inside is Torrivan Pinky. Down the back in 29.28. Spudmeister returned for home. Kiang Jigsaw comes to the outside. Spudmeister, Kiang Jigsaw with every stride. Taking ground off Spudmeister. Winning post too close. He leads all the way. Spudmeister holds Kiang Jigsaw.
Yes, very nice win there by Spudmeister, was tipped by our man Ollie Cownie. Nice drive by Hayden Charles as well to lead all the way there at Northam. As we welcome in Ollie. Good evening, Ollie. How are you?
Hi, Glenn and Glenn.
G'day, Ollie.
How's things? Good?
Really good, yeah. That was a good win by Spudmeister the other day, but I was quite taken by the run of the runner-up. I didn't think it paced very well at any stage. It looked like it was going to gallop a few times and was still coming on the line, so that might be one to follow there, Kiang Jigsaw.
Kiang Jigsaw, and you had a couple of others which were placed there just a little bit unlucky, but hopefully we're going to turn things around this weekend. So we've got Bunbury, we've got Calabaran, and we've got Albion Park. So at Bunbury, you've got a couple there for us, Ollie?
I do. We'll kick things off in race 4. Sweet Ivy, I thought was an absolute perler of a drive last start to end up leaders back from gate 7. Gary Hall Jr. just gave that an absolute peach and was probably a little bit stiff not to win with that good a drive. Think it's a race with a bit more depth, this one, than that last one the horse contested, but I think there's some big queries on some of the runners that are likely to be in the market in Alfredi and Cams Boulder. They're first up from a spell, so they may potentially need the run there, and Cams Boulder draws quite awkwardly there inside the back row. So I thought Sweet Ivy could get onto the front there, has pretty good gate speed, and if able to land on the front, can just be rated to win the race from there. So I'm hoping we can kick things off in race 4 with Sweet Ivy.
So race 4, number 2, there's no pricing up. What sort of price would you be expecting to take on Sweet Ivy?
I think it'll be the favourite there, so maybe $1.75 or something like that. I think it'd be. The main dangers, Alfredi and Cams Boulder. As I said, they've got slight queries on them, so they might go up bigger than those prices on the harness.org website. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I think that's about right, $1.70, $1.75.
Yeah, Junior gave him a fairly good push on the show earlier on. So race 4, number 2, only a small card on Saturday night there at Bunbury. Only the 6 races. Where else do we go at Bunbury, Ollie?
In race 5, we'll go to the next race after our previous one, Longreach Bay. Think without burning at the start, he can just duck in behind the likely favourite, My Ultimate Chevron. He's just emptied out his last couple of runs after burning in the early stages and potentially just getting a little bit keen. I think he is quite a nice horse, and although there are some nice horses in this race, I do think with that really soft run, he can fill a placing there behind My Ultimate Chevron at hopefully decent odds. I wouldn't be taking anything too short there. I was thinking around the $4 mark if it's pay 1-2. Obviously, there's a bit of a query on Waratah Lou, who's got some nice form coming from New South Wales, and High Sugar Rush, who's got the awkward draw. I was probably able to be against High Sugar Rush there, given the draw, and may potentially have to be the one doing the work in the race.
So race number 5, horse number 2, Longreach Bay. That was for a place, was it, Ollie?
We can have a little win bet, but I think mostly for the place, that one.
Okay, so a bit of a Richie 20 by 80 or something like that. Race number 5, horse number 2, Longreach Bay. And then on Sunday, we go to the Central Wheat Belt where we have 7 races, and the first race kicking off there at 1:07 p.m. Which races do you like, Ollie?
We'll kick things off in that first race, and I thought it looked a race where there's probably not a lot of chances. The main 2 are Double the Ante and Del Bonkovic Bay, who I've had a bit of time for in the past, but I'm just happy to look for something that might knock those horses off. Marnia, I think, is going quite well at the moment. Got a long way back last start behind Alta Tribute, who looks a pretty smart horse and worked to the line reasonably well there. 3 starts ago, got home nicely behind the very impressive Lion Queen. Beaten a big margin, but obviously no knock given how smart that horse is. I think just needs some speed on and could be swooping late, and I'm hoping we can get each way odds about that one.
So that's race number 1, horse number 9, Mania for Craig Hynam and Donald Harper. And then where do we go from there, Ollie?
In our next selection is another one that we'll be playing each way, hopefully. Rocking the Trend in race 5, I thought, found a really suitable race. I think this is a race where a few of the horses aren't really going amazing at the moment. I think Rock and Roll Nugget and She's a Mare probably aren't racing at their absolute peak. And potentially Rock and Roll Nugget or She's a Mare as a leader in the race, which could potentially set it up for something to swoop over the top late. Admiral Darcy, I thought, was definitely the hardest to beat in the race, but draws widest there, which may make things a little bit tricky. Breeze 3 starts ago, rocking the Trend, and finished 3rd there behind Tux and Towels and Johnny Lombo, and they both had the pegs in that race. So that looks a fairly good run for this sort of race. And Joey Savalco, who has a really good association with the horse, jumps back on here. I think she'll be reasonably hard to beat in this race. And as I said, hopefully we can get each way odds about that one.
So race number 5 at 3:24 over the 1730. Horse number 9, Rockin' the Trend for Sarah Savalco, driven by Joseph Savalco. What sort of price are you expecting there, Ollie?
I think we'd probably want something like $8 or something like that to get involved with that one. Obviously has a bit of an awkward draw at Kellerberrin, which can rule horses out at times.
Okay, and then we head up to Albion Park on Saturday night.
Decent card there at Albion Park, and I've picked one out that we've actually seen in WA pretty recently, and race 3 was a heat seeker. Just really quite impressive first up there, ran incredibly fast time and did it after sitting outside the leader a lot of the way, which was just quite a eye-catching run, and it backed up a really smart trial there where he was able to beat the one of the Eureka runners in I Keep Smiling and the winner of the Golden Girls over the Queensland Carnival. So really put the writing on the wall there with the trial and backed it up. and takes on a pretty smart horse here in Chinchilla. I said last week she's probably one of the best horses in Queensland, if not the best, and she showed that again by dominating that race. But I think she's going to have her work cut out here, coming off the back row and trying to chase down Was a Heat Seeker, who's going to be out in front and bowling along, you'd imagine, going to be awfully hard to beat there.
That's what we like to hear. And one more up in Albion Park.
In race 4, I'm not too sure what price this one will go up a place. I think we're likely to see in this race Jim RT find the front again, and he's just been knocking out sub 150 miles for fun. Turn it up, likely to cross in the early stages, I think, and that'll leave Always Smoking through back the fence, which is the horse I like in this one to run a place. I think the horse is just flying at the moment. Was like over a month between runs recently, and he sat outside Black Sedance there and was beaten just 15 metres. So I think that's really good form for this sort of race, and given the soft run on the pegs, I think he could actually run past Turn It Up. So if we're able to get $2 or $3 for that one, I think that's a pretty good price for Always Smoking to run a place.
So that's race number 4 at Albion Park, Always Smoking. Do you have a multi at all, Ollie?
I don't have a multi, but I do think that horse in the race 3 Was a Heat Seeker could go up fairly short, so we might be able to multi that one into, I think, our other selection, Always Smoking a place, and we might be able to get a bit of a price there, so it gives us something to follow on Saturday night.
It sounds good, and there's also something else for us to follow on the Saturday night. We've got the Discovery Stakes there at Menangle on Saturday night, and really a last chance for someone to shine to get a slot in the Eureka. What are your thoughts? Have you had a look at the race up there on Saturday night?
I have. It looks a really interesting race there, and it looks a race where there's probably a few chances in it. Sure Thing Captain and Captain Hammerhead, obviously the main two there, given how impressive Captain Hammerhead was last start. He definitely looks hard to beat, but I thought Sure Thing Captain has the draw advantage, has good gate speed, and For Real Life has come out in the race, and he was potentially the horse that might have held out Sure Thing Captain for the lead. So I think now Sure Thing Captain really just dictates the map, and he can hold or he can hand over to Captain Hammerhead and have the last shot at them there. And I think he's a horse that he has extremely high speed. So if he's able to get onto the front, get the pegs run, and get that soft trip, I think he's going to be awfully hard to beat in this race.
Interesting.
I think there's some chances that are at longer odds that I really liked Ragazzo d'Artile. I think the horse is absolutely flying, has just had no luck when it comes to barrier draws, and it's one I'd definitely be saving on.
Yeah, Ollie, the interesting thing about the Discovery is the slot holders aren't necessarily picking the winner.
No.
So it could be the best performance. You don't have to win it, but if you run a sensational second or third, you might get in. It'll be very interesting how they go about selecting who they want for that slot. And then we've got the other slot holders. The tip is Aaron Bain and Summit Bloodstock are probably lining up either perfect class or high above. One of those two for Emma Stewart, they seem to be leaning to.
Yes.
And I think they're racing Saturday night, are they?
Racing, yes, that's right. So,
as well. So that'll be interesting as well to see who those last two slots go to.
It could be the case that it really does set up for a swooper with everyone trying to make a statement there. So if that is the case, I really do think Ragazzo d'Artile has the makings of a really nice horse and would be perfectly suited sitting off a strong tempo. It seemed like the connections of Whisper a Secret were pretty keen to stay out of things in the early stages, given the horse races best fresh, and we'll have to back up next week in potentially the Consolation. So they could be two horses that are coming into it strong late.
You've always been giving Ragazzo d'Artile a good push along the way, and as you said, Ollie, unfortunately, has just had no luck whatsoever with the draw. Captain Hammerhead couldn't have been any more impressive last week. If he does get the slot in the Eureka, he'll then would have been 3 weeks in a row. And like you said, Sure Thing Captain's been a huge improver this time in. So looks like we're set for great race Saturday night. And then that will head into what we hope will be a great Eureka the following week.
Hopefully we come away with a WA victory in that Eureka.
Well, that would be lovely. It would be lovely. It's just going to be great to see a quality race, and
absolutely,
that it certainly should be. So, yeah, we're looking forward to it, and certainly over here in WA, there's a lot of people have more interest, obviously, because there's a local horse, and getting behind and supporting Justin Prentice and Gary Hall Jr. Ollie, as always, thank you very much for your time. Good luck and good punting on the weekend.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thanks, Ollie.
Here we go. Ollie Cownie, who very good tipster, and he's found us a couple there at Bunbury and Central Wheatbelt and then Albion Park on Saturday night. So hopefully we will see how that goes and we can finish the weekend as winners. Glenn, we've got the W night coming up. Not this Friday, but the Friday after, which when you go back through some of the heats of the 2-year-old and the 3-year-old, it's going to be a couple of really, really good fields. So it should be a great night of pacing.
Exactly. Look, the barrier draws on Monday at Pinjarra is going to be vital. There are probably Waterloo and Line Queen, you could say, are probably standouts if they draw well. But there's a bit of depth there. But those two, seemingly stand out a little bit.
Yeah.
When you look at some of the other races, though, the fillies, you've got to get on Pip, Bullshark, Betty, Copperhead Lady. I See You Baby went sensational the other night.
Yeah, for John Graham and Emily Savelko.
Yep. And then you've got the draws, which will figure there prominently as well. The 2-year-old Colton Geldings. Captain Sterling looks really nice type. But there's up-and-comers there. Last Hard Copy's done nothing wrong, belly up. Look, you go through them, they're fairly even, aren't they, and Noble Thorndale pulled off the 50 to 1. Matter of fact, they had something on it, the value, and got out to 50 to 1, which was incredible value, really, for a horse that's been racing well. But they're pretty even. The barrier draw is going to be critical, the number of chances, hold the ammo, etc. And then you go to the 3-year-old classic. We for the fillies, we mentioned the two clear standouts, but you got Miss Hepburn racing really well, and barrier draws will figure there for.
Yeah, she was good.
Very good, and Line Queen just coming back from that break. It would happen to draw to lead. I presume Junior would drive that, so that'll be interesting. And then you've got the very impressive Bet the House up against Wave Rider. That's probably the two.
Looks to be a good showdown between those two, that's for sure.
The barrier draw could be a great leveler there as well. And then, of course, the barrier draw can bring other horses into those Westbred Classics with a chance for that big money.
It was a good night out there at Gloucester Park on Tuesday night. Those heats always attract good crowds, eager to see their relatively new purchase gain a chance to have a race in a $200,000 race.
Exactly.
So, there's a good crowd out there on Tuesday night and a couple of good winners. So we're certainly looking forward to the W night, which is on the Friday night, the night before the Eureka. So we look forward to that. As we know, as we've spoken, we've got the Eureka coming up. It's only 9 more sleeps until then. So we're looking forward to that. Anything else? A bit more on HRV?
Yeah, look, it's. I suppose you could say it's negative news, but I think it's a realisation of where the harness racing industry is. It's not only Victoria that are involved with the problems that all racing codes are involved with downturn in revenue and turnover. So it's a reality check. I think everybody's got to now look forward to make the decisions on the best for harness racing, not their individual, what suits them. It's what's best outcome for the profitability of these industry and the sustainability, particularly Morts for trainers to come through to develop and bring owners into the industry and have a foreseeable future for them to make a reasonable living. And that all comes around to best wagering tracks, reducing the cost to the participants. It's what Victoria's looking at. They've been a bit reticent to do it over the years because of, political backlash and all that, but I think the time's gone past all that. We really have to have a serious look at it.
Yeah. The time comes eventually where you just need to look at it from a business perspective and say, We need to be profitable. We can't expect that people are just going to continue to fund and bail out and do all these sorts of things. We've got to become standard, which is extremely difficult in a wagering market, regardless of whether it's harness racing or whatever it is, be it a casino or greyhounds or thoroughbreds. It's that discretionary dollar. And at the moment, with interest rates the way they are, that discretionary dollar is just not there. So we're all fighting for that discretionary dollar. We've got to make sure that we're putting the best product we have on display. And we know that the best product is racing at the right time slots, at the right tracks.
That's the main answer to it. That's where we can make a big improvement. And we are up against some elite type sporting events as well that people, as you say, have got discretionary dollars to spend. And I think we've got the product, but it's a way of marketing and displaying it and attracting punters is something we have to have a serious look at in the future because we've got to make information's king. And I think we've started giving good information through some of the rower initiatives with podcasts and pre-race interviews. All that is valuable. We've got to get it out to more people.
We do, and we've got to look at what's the next step. What's the next step of communication? Because the younger generation just have information at their fingertips. You've just got to type into Google, you can get any information you need.
Yep.
And information for them is king, is absolute king. And like you said, there's been some good initiatives and, love the interviews out the back and particularly used to enjoy the summary on the track of a night time, but, just before the race. But that's the sort of thing that punters want to know before they go and invest their money because... like I said, we've just got to continue to work on making sure we get the best product out there. We're very fortunate. We've certainly got some of the best trainers and drivers there are in Australia. But what's the incentive for younger trainers to want to invest money in a property and everything that's involved to become a full-time trainer? And we need to be able to restore that confidence within our industry. And the only way we do that, which is by increasing our turnover, and just got to improve our product. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with our product, by the way, but like anything, you've just got to look for what's the next thing we can do to generate additional revenue. Yeah,
I think so, and I think we've got to be transparent with the industry on this and give them the reality of exactly where we're at and where we can improve and what's not working and what is working. I think all those things need to. The industry, I don't think, generally understands the position regarding wagering and the costs and all those sort of things, and to try and work out a better way forward to give us sustainability of stake money increases and even sustainability, particularly for bringing new people into the industry and attracting owners. Syndication's been a great thing. It's attracted a lot of people. You're involved in a lot of syndicates. They're bringing people in. They can share their expenses out and they can get involved in a top-class horse. 10 years ago, that wasn't happening. You'd have the prominent owners buying all the horses. Now you've got – this is shared out. The lesser trainers in terms of where they were 10 years ago are now more competitive in terms of they didn't have the capital behind them. But now with syndication, you can bring 10 people in and buy a quality yearling or a quality going horse and be competitive with the big boys. That wasn't happening. That opportunity is there now. So there's no excuses for people not to be able to get involved in this industry at a very high level, and that's what we should be shooting for, horses racing at the highest level, and that'll give owners a better experience to stay in the industry.
Yeah, agree, and it even gets back to to working with RAWA to help educate people within the harness racing industry on how to sell a syndicate, how to promote. Because it's great to create a syndicate, but you've got to have people to fill it.
Absolutely.
So you do get some word of mouth, but how can we market that, and how can we help some of these trainers market that to get those people in? Because when they get them in, and all of a sudden you've got a syndicate of 20 people, it's you're not just buying a horse for X dollars, you're buying it for X plus. And you can have a quality horse because you've got a lot of people that have got a small share, small interest. Reduce the risk, and that's people don't want the risk in this type of environment. So and that's one of the good things with syndication. We've got some people in our syndicates with 2.5%, having the absolute time of their lives with no pressure. Because if it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world, but it's just they can just have some fun without the pressure. So syndicates certainly are a big part of the future of harness racing.
Yeah, one of the things about syndication too, particularly for yearlings, it does take a bit of time for the horses to get to the track.
Yeah.
And we've got a terrific Westbred system that is very attractive for people to come in. But we could also maybe dig deeper on the syndication and look on top of that. We've already got the incentives for Westbred. We've seen these $215,000 races coming up, plus plenty of other sales races, etc. We could also probably have a look at syndication for going horses, because young people want instantaneous type
Correct.
results. They don't want to wait for 2 years or 18 months to see their horse get to the track. There's another market on top of the yearling market, which we are heavily pushing for, and sustainability of that. But we probably should be looking at also attracting people that want a ready-made horses. We've got the trainers to do it, and then maybe we need to have a good look at that as well.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. Michael Young does a very good job there. He gets a lot of people involved in a lot of those going horses. And to your point, younger people don't want to wait. And when you tell them that you're going to buy something, in March, but it may not, be racing until this time next year, if you're very lucky.
Yep.
And, quite often it could be not until August, September. That's a long time for people to wait and still be having to, put money out. So the idea of horses being able to see a horse go, you can watch it race, think, yeah, that looks like it's got some ability, and you've got an opportunity to buy in it, and who knows, it could start the week, the week after or the week after that. So it is instantaneous. So whilst we need to continue to get people involved in the Westbred, because it's a fantastic initiative, there is also a very good market there for the going
There's two
horses.
separate markets,
Yeah,
I think.
certainly.
And you can probably combine the two. The trainers could probably say, okay, we'll have a crack at the Westbred well and truly.
Yep.
And as a bit of a backup, have something going around horses as well that keeps them involved while they're waiting for the younger ones to come through.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. And it just takes education to talk to trainers and other people in the industry, just to think outside the square and do things that you're talking about, and maybe put a package together where
Definitely.
you've got the going one and the yearling, and keep people interested. So just got to get more people involved in harness racing. That's the short of it.
Absolutely, and I think we've got a very good product. Our breeding industry is improving, and I think we've got a promising future, but we just have to probably realise that we've got to make a few tough and prudent decisions for the business in future.
Yeah, and I think before that's done, some transparency around the cold hard facts of where harness racing is today, and it's it's not all beer and skittles for the thoroughbreds either. So I just think to be able to see the absolute harsh reality of where we're at, and what the future might look like. So
you've got to provide transparency and people with the information. Otherwise, they just react in a negative way. They don't really understand what's going on. It's incumbent on us to be able to portray to them what's actually happening and how we can improve things. And then I think if people are reasonable, they would understand that the industry is bigger than individuals.
The data never lies, Glenn,
Never lies.
And that's the most important thing. So, well, I think that's probably just about us.
Okie dokie.
Just about us for the day.
It's good to catch up.
This segment was brought to you by Bayswater Mazda, and driving is certainly better with a Bayswater Mazda on the corner of Garrett Road and Guildford Road in Bayswater. Get down there and see the great range of new and used Mazdas. Great team, great service, and great coffee down there at Bayswater Mazda.
And just one point, we've got the Retrovision Gloucester Park preview tomorrow, and you'll be back on that, Morts.
Yes.
For Retrovision with the quiz.
Got the quiz.
Very good. And we've got Jocelyn Young on board tomorrow. Very good. And also Lindsay Harper. So they've got some very significant horses in tomorrow night that the punters will be able to get the information. Both those people very transparent in the way they talk And so we're looking forward to having a chat to them tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it should be very good. A couple of the races there, Lindsay Harper could, play a key part, in particular at the start. But
definitely,
also Leighton Jocelyn, her stable's going very well, and
Skylord's an interesting.
Skylord first up. He was outstanding when he first started. Then he just seemed to taper off a little. But last time back in, he looked like he was back to building to that form. So it'd be great to see how he goes first up. And she's got that other. I can't think of off the top of my head, the other.
Steno.
Yes, that's the one.
And
so
we'll ask her about Steno's brother then tomorrow night at Bunbury too, which will be very interesting in itself.
And I think that's about it. Bray, what's been happening whilst I've been away on the podcast? I think you were caught up with Anthony Bubba Hansen last week. I haven't had a chance to listen, but I'm going to tonight. All going well? Looking forward to the waffle finals coming up? Yes. Blue and white? Black and white, okay. Oh, well, good luck. Hope you get rolled. Glenn, thank you very much for coming in. You're very generous with your time, and your knowledge is outstanding, so I appreciate that. Bray, always do an excellent job there on the dials. And from all of us here, that's bye for now.
Thank you, Morts.
Talking Trots with Morts and Michael Radley on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelpline.org.au.